Ruby Soho is propping herself up in the corner, face resting on the middle turnbuckle. Statlander rushes in, grabs a waistlock, and rolls Ruby into what looks like a pin, but then continues into a huge German suplex.
Kris Statlander, the waistlock, the roll through. Oh! German suplex! This is it! Buddy, the crowd feels it. Statlander! Oh! She's gonna advance! She did it! Oh! Good Lord, how tough is Ruby Soho? How tough is Soho? Good Lord.
The crowd is not happy. Mere seconds later, Ruby rolls up Statlander for the win.
No, the right leg comes free. On the shoulder. Exactly, Ricky. The shoulder to shoulder to shoulder. Ruby with the up kick to the heel of her boot on the shoulder. It's Kris Statlander. Back to the knee. Back to the leg. Roll up here. 1, 2, 3. Ruby Soho. Wow. Wow. What a finish. And what a way for Ruby Soho to punch her ticket to the...
And the crowd is, frankly, pissed. So is much of the online community. Even in the post-match angle, Ruby acknowledges the relentless booing fans. Maybe it's just me, and I won't speak for you, but I feel like the more time I have to spend on thinking about an outcome of a match, the more unsure I become. I let myself think about the possibilities of what could happen, what might happen, and I can talk myself into either party winning. In Ruby Soho versus Kris Statlander, a modicum of foresight would have told me the plan was always for Ruby Soho to win. Kris Statlander was a late addition to the tournament for Hikaru Shida. And the whole reason Statlander was added to the tournament was because her feud with Layla Hirsch fell through when Hirsch suffered an injury. And of course, in hindsight, now that we know that Rancid was hired to play Ruby Soho's entrance at Double or Nothing, this was an outcome that was in the books for quite some time. Despite all that, after watching this match, my immediate visceral reaction was, yeesh, that was a missed opportunity. I have to imagine that this crowd reaction may have come to a surprise to even Tony Khan. It was two baby faces going head to head, both strong title contenders. Ruby Soho has been positioned at nearly Britt Baker's level, who's at the top of the women's division, while Kris Statlander probably a tier below Soho. But I think in their pre-main events side-by-side interview with Mark Henry, Kris Statlander really struck a chord in the arena when she said,
"Everybody apparently needs to win this tournament. Ruby, what you need is to understand that I've been here since the beginning, and what have I got to show for it? Not a title, that's for sure. A blown-out knee being the backup plan to this prestigious tournament. All my friends turning on me, what you need is to understand that I'm not letting this opportunity slip away from me like I let every single other one go. Nothing can stop me. Not you, not an enemy, not a friend, no one."
It looked like there's been enough time. It's time!
this day one AEW narrative is something we're seeing played with by Hangman Page, MJF, and some others. And that's a discussion to have for another time. What I want to talk about is the timing of Kris Statlander's evolution and the upcoming rise to being a big star in AEW. When Kris Statlander made her AEW debut in November 2019, While fans were charmed by her space alien persona, it was a gimmick which seemed sure to keep her grounded. AEW commentators would roundaboutly put over that Statlander wasn't actually an alien. And Tony Khan, while he's all for wrestlers having gimmicks, there does seem to be at least unofficial, edict of no supernatural stuff. So with Kris Statlander being someone who believed she was an alien, but wasn't actually an alien, this type of ambiguity would seem to be an impediment for a wrestler to further their career, at least in AEW. It's hard to know whether this would have been the case, as Statlander got injured in June 2020 and was out for nearly 10 months. She seemed to be a good fit with Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. It may not have furthered her character, but it provided good entertainment value for sure. And while the bulk of the fans seemed willing to look past the alien persona and enjoy her work, she still felt locked into her place at a tier below the level of a wrestler AEW would put a title on. But that doesn't mean the alien gimmick was a failure. Much in the same way that most businesses fail to get off the ground, most pro wrestlers don't get to be on a nationally televised pro wrestling promotion for years. Kris Statlander, the alien, immediately established herself as a fun, bright, colorful, and wholesome character who fans adored. More importantly, though, she was someone you were delighted to see walk out that tunnel for a match. And whether it was strategic or not, this over-the-top gimmick got her on a TV and then almost put her career in like an incubator while she improved in the ring and figured out how things worked. And then on March 6th, at the Revolution pay-per-view buy-in, Statlander would lose to Layla Hirsch with help from a steel turnbuckle, and this loss would be kind of a turning point for her. It'd be the precipice of the change of her character. Up to this point, the alienation, pun intended, felt from not knowing who Statlander was, kind of acted to quash any anxiety that you could feel about not seeing her get that rocket booster push. As AEW fans, we were comfortable with where Statlander was, and we're kind of just waiting for an indication to expect more. Just 10 days after the Hirsch defeat at AEW Dynamite St. Patrick's Day Slam, a 14-second clip aired of Kris removing her yellow contact lens and removing her makeup, overlaced with clips of her in losing spots. It perfectly and abruptly signaled to fans, "It's time. Let's fucking go." Whenever a pro wrestler emerges as a star, people always want to point to a moment. CM Punk had the pipe bomb. Stone Cold Steve Austin had the Crimson Mask at WrestleMania 13. Of course, the truth about any overnight success is that it comes off the back of a ton of hard work, creative thinking, and strategic timing. For Kris Statlander, I feel like we got a preview of what her moment will be like. She made a genuine connection with the fans over a spiteful Day 1 AEW roster member promo. She then backed it up in the ring, turning to her background as a powerlifter to present a very fan-pleasing, overpowering style as she flung the smaller Ruby Soho around the ring like a rag doll. It was after this match where Statlander went from being top of the mid-card in the women's division to someone who could credibly hold either title. And that includes perhaps the biggest title in AEW at the moment, which would be toppling the undefeated Jade Cargill. It just wasn't on the books for Statlander to have her moment in the Owen Hart tournament. It just wasn't meant to be. AEW didn't miss the boat. Statlander didn't miss her one chance. Rather, the happenstance of Statlander changing up her persona as a part of a feud with Layla Hirsch to her being thrown into a bigger spot in the Owen Hart tournament gifted us with a tease of what's on the horizon for Kris Statlander. And I, for one, am pretty stoked to see her moment. Thanks for watching, and as always, tell the women in your life that you love them.